Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 37 of the Fast Soul Music Podcast. And this is the next track coming out on Fast Soul Music. It's called Electrified. It features Vonne on vocals and DJ Marky and Makoto. This comes out at the end of November. Absolutely massive shout going out to Vonne, who is in Dubai. She just texted me today and said, "I'm in the desert, Tony. I've got a surprise for you." I'm excited now. So we have Fast Soul Music t-shirts available on our Bandcamp. So if you want to keep it fast and soulful, head over there. The link will be in the description of this podcast or the bio on Instagram or whatever. Organic, heavy duty, premium t-shirts. And as you probably know, the mighty High Contrast has his new album Restoration out right now. This is called Lord. So a lot of you have shouted in with your ideas for the seemingly terminal decline in the UK club industry. And later on in the podcast, I have got a call with Strats from Manchester, Strategy, who who has just put on a really, really interesting night, and he's got a lot of ideas. So we all know the club industry is really dying on its feet right now, and after I had the shouts in from you guys, and after I spoke to Strats the day after last week, we heard that, well, really one of my favourite clubs in the whole of the UK, Motion in Bristol, we've heard that it's going to close. Heartbreaking. I really hope they can get a good petition together that we can all join in with. If there is, I will put news out on the podcast. But we are faced in the UK, the home of clubbing. We're faced with the whole system breaking down. Now, I'm not going to go into the causes on this podcast. I think we all know what they are. Cost of living, COVID, change in youth culture, all of that, Brexit, it all contributes. However, we have to look on the bright side and don't get mad, get angry. So, sorry, don't get mad or angry. Get even. Do something about it. Yeah. No, don't get angry. There's no point. So I asked you guys, what you think we can do, and I got some really, really interesting answers. So that's what we're going to deal with in this podcast. Enjoy. Underground Supply by Unglued and Molecular. Big shout out to Joss Unglued. So here we go. So Steve Tripp says, people need to start supporting your local DJs and promoters wherever possible. The scene is nothing without grassroots. It gives new DJs and promoters their start, and without new blood coming through, the scene will stagnate. The new and exciting music and subgenres are still there, but eventually will dry up if we don't all support grassroots. That is a very good point. And we can only see new, undiscovered, up-and-coming DJs at small events because they're not going to get booked on a big event. Underground will supply it. Mark Damien Williams says, stop people filming in clubs. If people can't see what's going on in these clubs online, then they have to go and check it out in real life and be part of it. It might mean people go to the dance like in the old days. That's a kind of nice idea, but it is not going to happen. People are not going to stop filming unless we confiscate their phones as they come in. But it's not school. So we can't really do that, can we, Mark? Now, Laurent Imbert says maybe it's also why clubs are closing, because older people tell the younger crowds how to dance and how not to party. Don't do this, don't do that. If they want to film the DJ or themselves at the party, let them. Party your way, I party my way, and they party their way. This is not the old days, it's today. And if clubs want to attract young people, they need to evolve with the new generation. That's a really good point. Incoming. This is unreleased. It's a new tune that Conrad Subs has made. I hope you won't mind me playing this. It's called Tequila. I think I'm going to take this and play it in Mexico in a couple of weeks. And Colombia. What do you reckon? Conrad. Okay, let's carry on with this conversation. It is very, very interesting. Rob Wright says, honestly, I just think clubbing was of its time. Social media and online entertainment have had a massive impact. We did not have the entertainment at home in the 70s, 80s, 90s and noughties like we do now. It's not just clubbing, but pubs as well that suffer. It was a place to see your friends and escape pressure. That has shifted massively. That's a fascinating point, but that doesn't address the issue at hand. That kind of addresses the cause. What can we do? Because there's nothing like going to a small intimate club and really, really listening to the DJ and kind of getting the feel, and also just dancing in a nice room with a great sound system with people who are there to dance. Not just there to see 1,000 names in a 15,000 capacity event and just record what you can on Instagram, get mashed up, go home. You know, it's a very different experience. I am convinced that a lot of people who've never experienced an intimate club situation would love it if they did. Marius Wolf says, I don't live in the UK, but I see the same phenomenon in other countries. From my perspective, clubs have become rather exclusive environments in the sense that there are various barriers for many people to go and enjoy their experience there. One barrier is certainly cost, and that is a very real issue. Other barriers could be the opening hours, because many people don't want to go out very late anymore. Perceived cultural fit, e.g. not knowing if you'll get in with what you're wearing, age discrimination or scene elitism. I think what could help is to try and make clubs more inclusive. For example, some of the most successful techno events in my area are day raves rather than night raves. Another successful pattern that I'm seeing is to diversify the programme way beyond what would have been normal previously. E.g. a metal concert, a D&B party and a karaoke night on different days of the week. I also think that clubs should position themselves as cultural institutions rather than places for entertainment only. Interesting. For example, I'm seeing local initiatives that apply for public funding for club events that otherwise wouldn't be commercially viable. Now that's really interesting. Marius, I think you're probably from Germany. I played in Club Gretchen a couple of weeks ago. One of my favourite clubs in the world, like a home from home. And it's in Berlin. And as I was waiting for my cab back to the hotel, I was talking to Lars. Big up Lars, the promoter and owner of the club. And I saw on the wall that it said cash only. So I said, what's that all about? Is it for people's privacy? And he said, no. We keep the whole event for buying tickets and for paying at the bar cash only, because we're worried that young people will spend too much if they bring their credit cards. I was blown away by that. That is so socially responsible. It's wicked. Also, he said, we sell honesty tickets. Now, that is like a reduced price entry for people who are on a low income. And he said, we don't check. If people want to buy that ticket, they buy it. So, and he said 15% of people who buy tickets buy the low income ticket because they're so honest. You know, in the UK, I'm not sure that might be abused a little bit more. However, it's a great vibe for the club. I was so impressed. It makes the club look good. It makes the brand look good. This is the kind of initiative that clubs need to put into practice here in the UK. This is brand new music from Kings of the Rollers. Now my file says it's called Don't Wanna, but I don't know what you don't want to do because it doesn't actually say. So we'll call it Kings of the Rollers Don't Wanna. It's coming out on Souped Up. Big up Serum, Voltage, Blade Runner. This is classic Rollers. I mean the drums, right? Check the drum break. Proper. And it's a proper length as well. It is, it's nearly 5 minutes long. In drum and bass. Length is more important than girth. Okay, Koala Core simply says, bring back chill out rooms. Actually, do you know what? That's a good idea. They were wicked. Emma Fletcher says, yeah, I agree. They're a great place to meet people and share stories. This is what clubbing is all about. It's about connection. It's about unity. Atu Darden says, I think to restart club culture, you have to go back to the beginning. Either house or loft parties that are small and intimate. Then you can build from there, but it might take another decade or so for what you're looking for to come back. I think the thing is that personally, I don't know what I'm looking for. Because I can't see into the future. I don't know what's going to evolve, but something will. Something always does. Attila Major says, unfortunately, it's a global problem. The clubbing scene is more or less dead everywhere in Europe. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, actually, Attila. Only festivals count, small club events not really. Also, the clubbers and their behaviour changed a lot. In the past, it was a common event, meeting friends, etc. Right now, it's just another Facebook or X or something story made with video, and then it is checked, no one cares afterwards. In the 90s to early noughties, we had a lot of common gigs with friends, and every one of us has his own memory, good or bad, on which we laugh or cry when we meet, and this was important for us. The world is over in this aspect, and it is maybe due to generation changes, or clubbing became too expensive, or, well, the reason doesn't really matter. But the trend makes me sad. It makes all of us sad. That's why we're having this discussion right now. Just to get ideas to see what, if anything, we can do to save club culture. This is Chimpo and Slater. It's called Jones.
We can't leave you tonight. I see right now, people them wait and them wait and them wait.
Lucas Langer says, one of the things I find hardest in the UK is to find a good local party. And he makes an interesting point. He says, there are loads and loads of event portals online, and a lot of clubs are not posting on them at all. Now, I don't know about these portals, but I'd love to know about them. And Lucas said also, P.S. there are way too many rewinds in sets. Now, I kind of agree. I think... one of the performances that you've never seen before. I feel away. Flash it! I think like 2, maybe 3 rewinds per set. Maximum. It can get a bit much. But they are great when the tune goes off and the crowd really want it. It's one of the performances that you've never seen. And on that topic, Ryan Dayton says, I think people have lost the meaning of reloading. If it's nice, play it twice. But I think people do it because they think they have to. People not associated with growing up around sound system culture, not growing up in places associated with people from these roots, etc. They just see videos of a DJ doing it, so they assume that they have to. I've seen people pull up a tune within a quarter of a bar. The crowd having zero energy or reaction to the tune, they just want to do it because they think they have to. Yeah, the energy has to be there to warrant a reload.
I see right now, people them wait and them wait and them wait.
Alexander Judge says any business has to adapt to a changing marketplace. Okay, here we go. This is an economics student or something. The market for raves is declining and now oversaturated as a result. The best way to find venues is choosing something multifunctional. You'll be best off hosting raves at venues that also host conferences and other events. Okay. In the other side of that coin, current rave clubs could also double up as restaurants or gyms during the day. Focusing on one particular way of selling your venue or space only narrows your market. It's the same reason people get everything from Tesco rather than butchers, greengrocers and any other single-purpose store. That's interesting because one of the things that concerns me that motivated all of this is what has become what I call the IKEA-ization of our club scene.
It's one of them performances that you've never seen before. I feel away.
So many really big events, particularly since lockdown, nearly all organised by promoters like WAH, Worried About Henry, D&B All Stars. Now, they know what they're doing. They know how to put on really massive parties. However, inevitably, the smaller club shows, they get sacrificed, and the club nights go out of business. So it's a tricky territory to navigate. It really is. Okay, this is a tune by Steo, and it's called Stay Near, and it's a Zero T and Onge remix. I'm just thinking about that last shout. It's interesting because I was playing in Estonia at Soulbox on Saturday. Big up Eero, SIN, good buddy of mine, and I had a great time. The night was wicked, great sound system. It's a small club, you know, it's about maybe 400 people, and really great vibe. And similarly, Gretchen the weekend before, you know, that was nicely busy. There's about 500 people in, and we have spirits Gretchen is an interesting example because Lars was telling me they have, he said, this 2024, 260 events in 2024 at this one club. And he does concerts and club nights, often doubles up. So the actual live music show will finish, they strike the club, clean it really quickly, set it up for the night event, and they'll be open before midnight. So what the last person said is kind of partially true, really. That multi-function aspect can really help if the club is geared up for it and if the people running it know what they're doing. I wouldn't say turning it into a gym is necessarily going to be economically viable because you've got to move all that equipment and store it somewhere overnight. Appreciate your ideas. Music from Digital Native now. This is called Look. It's out on Gold Fat. Really lovely EP with quite a few tunes. They're all beautiful tunes. Proper fast soul music. Proper loungecore. I said earlier, I had a phone call with Strats from Manchester. So I think I'm going to play that now. Let's kind of see where that takes us. How you doing?
Not too bad, you know me, Tony, just cracking on as usual. You know what I'm saying? I'm up here in Manchester in the rain as usual.
I was just going to ask you how the weather is.
Yep, you know what it is up here, mate. Misty, rainy and grey. But we wouldn't want it any other way. That's what makes us who we are, you know.
Yeah, keep it grim up north.
Yeah, mate, you know that.
So listen, I don't want to keep you, but I want to hear about what you did recently with the club night, because I'm asking people what there is that we can do, if anything, to fix the decline in club nights. So tell me about what you've been up to.
Well, obviously, we've been on the circuit doing music for a long time, and we play at a lot of big raves and festivals and all this kind of stuff, which I love. And, you know, I want to make it clear this is not an attack on any side, that side of things in whatsoever. But I just noticed a lack of sort of, as we know, all the venues are dying, all the club nights are flipping, closing, and I feel like there's a bit of a lack of a sense of community and ownership in what we do. People don't seem to be going out anymore. And I just thought to myself, what would I want to see when I go out? And we've always thrown club nights in Manchester over the years, but I just wanted to try something new. So I started a new event in Manchester where, first and foremost, we're playing, it's called Orcs Cord. We're playing all forms of music, anything goes. It's just a bit of a party because we're trying to get the vibes back. And the premise of the night is that you come down, you get in for free, you enjoy the night, and then when you leave, it's free to get in, but you pay to leave. Yeah, basically. But you pay whatever you pay whatever you think is fair, depending on how much of a good time you have. So we've left it completely up to the people. There's no entrance fee. There's no set. We actually had people saying I'm on the list to leave, which was funny. But we just want to bring back just try something new, and give the people something to be excited about, and not make it about the money so much. Do you know what I mean? Like, the venue that we're doing it in, Mint Lounge, has been there for 20 years. It's had up and down times, obviously over lockdown and all that. And last month I just felt really proud because we had a club full of people dancing and enjoying themselves, and that's what it's supposed to be about. Do you know what I'm saying, Tony?
Nice.
And the analogy I can make to it is that it's like football. I love the game, but I hate the sport and what it's become. Do you know what I mean? So if you look at all the money that's got involved, it's taken the game away from grassroots and what it's supposed to originally be about. But that doesn't mean we can't go and have a kickabout in the park and enjoy ourselves. That's basically what we're trying to do. It's not about the money, but we did all right in the first one, and it's not about the money. Do you know what I mean? The staff got paid, the door person got paid, the cameraman got paid. Great. And everyone had a great time. We're giving out free drinks, and that's, we're just trying to bring back a bit of that energy. You know what I mean?
So you're giving out free drinks. Tell me a bit more about that.
So we used to get like one bottle of Sambuca and give out shots in the front row. And then one shot is all it takes for people to be like, oh, forget that, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? And next thing you know, you've got a bit of a party on your hands. Because we just want good vibes and energy, mate. I'm not interested in having like big name DJs with everyone with the phones out. We play Jimi Hendrix, we play Bob Marley, we play 140, D&B. It's just anything goes. Do you know what I mean? So
I want to know how it was as people were leaving. What did people say? How much did they pay? How did that all work?
Long story short, we had one person that paid £200.
Wow!
Which was mad. Do you know
Fantastic.
what I mean? And thank you to whoever that was.
Amazing.
But now and we believe in being completely transparent about this, yeah? The average spend per person, we had about 500 people in there. Yeah. The average spend, even with that 200 quid, was about £1.50. Okay. Which is kind of low, I ain't gonna lie. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously people are always gonna push the boundaries and that stuff. But I want to take this club night around the UK, and I think there's an opportunity for venues to do this, because being told, again, I just believe in being transparent. If there's any venues out there what are trying to make this work and fill the club, if you give me just a set fee, we can do this event. You can keep the bar, you can keep the door, and let's just get things going. This is how we're going to build things back up, Tony. But instead of trying to do these big £6,000-7,000 lineups, let's do something organic and natural and try and get people back in venues. I'm talking like 500 capacity, these type of places that have not been doing great lately. These are the guys that need to help, and they just need people with strong ideas and concepts. It's out there, do you know what I mean? We just got to tap into the right people and do it as a community. That's what's lacking. Yeah. We've got all these separate promoters everywhere throwing money all about. It's not about that anymore, man. Let people choose what they want to pay instead of just like herding them in like sheep, fleecing them and sending them home. that's it really.
Well, listen, Strats, thanks for your time, and I wish you all the best with Aux Cord. You know, it's a fantastic concept, and if you want someone to come down to play some Demis Roussos, then give me a shout.
I love that, mate. Definitely, for sure, Tony. I'll get you up soon in the new year, mate. Thanks for calling, man.
Wicked. You have a great day.
Yeah, man. Big love. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you, Strats. Amazing concept, amazing ideas. See, we're getting some great fresh ideas here. I love this. This is a new tune by Kasra. Big up, Kaz. It's called Close to You on Critical Music. So Mags, is it insightful or insightful? I don't know. Anyway, Mags says, as someone who's been regular clubbing for over 35 years in the UK and abroad, dark clubs are outdated. After COVID lockdown, they need to be social spaces with more bright light. Stages can still have lighting, but social areas need to be inviting with bright light so people can see each other and chat. Before environmental health controlled sound, volume was max, so talking was not an option. But banter and jokes complement the high vibes of music and dancing. Also, clubs need to utilise their spaces for private hire, interesting events and more day music events. Having the club only open at night is less viable. Now, I partially agree. However, I think that club music is best enjoyed in a dark space with incredible sound, because often that makes people a lot less self-conscious when it's really dark, and also it discourages filming on phones, and it encourages people to get in the zone, get in the moment and really listen and feel the music. That's my personal opinion. I love the idea of a chill out room that can be quite bright and low level sound, so that you can really talk to people and get to know them, and then you can go back out to the dance floor where it's dark and you're enveloped by the sound. That's what I love. This is a new tune by KublaI. It's called Certified. Like. So Ben Avenel says, like a lot of people are suggesting, the hybridisation of clubs into more social environments is what's going to keep DJs in their jobs. Clearly consumer preferences are shifting. Certainly some of this shift could be down to reduced disposable income, definitely. Capitalism, if you like, 100%. But also people are getting a lot of their entertainment indoors, on their phones and streaming devices. Now this is like my personal theory, is that we lost a whole generation of potential club goers during lockdown because they learnt to get all their entertainment online with their friends. Now I can speak from experience of my own two boys. They will, given the chance, just game online with their mates. They'll have a Discord chat open, they'll be able to talk while they're gaming, and this is a very sociable experience for them. It's a connecting experience Why do they need to go out to a club and spend loads of money? Interesting. Telling people to support your local DJ is not a solution, no matter how nice it sounds. No offence, obviously, this is true. Clubs may close, but opportunities will arise in different environments. People will always love live music, and they will always love jumping around to tunes with their friends. I expect a new format will appear and we'll all go, yeah, that's it, that's cool. We'll do that this weekend. Or we'll have a generation of much smaller venues to get our fixes from. Darren Blake Pfeffer K, what a name, says, sadly, I do not think anything can be done. Club culture of the 90s, a little before and a little after, belonged to that time, and we were lucky enough to have been a part of it. I am so grateful that I was a part of it. Attitudes towards alcohol and drugs have changed massively, and these played a part, but I think social media has the biggest effect. We partied in the 90s for the fun of it, for the love of the music, with friends, in the moment. The younger generation has lost the joy of the moment. Everything now is for the sake of content. I don't agree with that. See, I see my sons online. They don't care about the content. They don't want to post stuff. They're just having fun with their mates. That's what's at the bottom of all of this. How to get people back into clubs where they're having fun with their mates and not worrying about how they're being perceived. New music from Exile, Sola and Dread MC. We no care.
If you're rich and you're famous, get to youth and you know say we dangerous. We no care if you're rich and you're famous. You are looking at my eye and you don't know us. We no care if you're rich and you're famous.
And this is what it's about.
To youth and you know say we dangerous.
We no care if you're rich and you're famous.
If you're rich and you're famous.
That is what clubbing is all about.
We no care. Me no care if you're rich and you're famous. Me no care. Me no care. Me no care if you're rich and you're famous. Get to youth and you know say we dangerous. We no care if you're rich and you're famous.
Now this does make me think about the economic side of clubbing. When we started hospitality at Herbal in the year 2000, it was £4 to get in before 10 p.m, £5 after 10 p.m, and there was a huge queue before 10 p.m, because that £1 made a huge difference. To make all that possible, we did it ourselves. We used to get in, put the banners up, and it would be me, Coleman, my wife, Chris Goss, and Tomahawk. We would just hit the venue, and we take it in turns, on the till, on the guest list. So if you came to Herbal in the early years, you would see me on the till, or my wife on the till, or I would be ticking off the guest list. And when it was time to play, I'd just hand the till over to someone else, jump behind the deck, and play.
Me no care, me no care, me no care if you're rich and you're famous. Get to youth and you know say we dangerous.
And we spend the rest of the week going out flyering as well.
We no care if you're rich and you're famous.
So we go to Swerve on a Wednesday night at Velvet Rooms. That was Fabio and Groove Riders night, a legendary night. We'd fly that and then we go inside the club, enjoy ourselves, come out before the end and fly the people going out. We go to Movement up Bar Rumba on Thursdays. Big up Brian G, big up Frost. We go to Fabric Live on a Friday and hand out flyers to people in real life and talk to them and get to know the ravers. It was a real community, a real tribe. Brand new music from LSB. This got an interesting title. This is called Me in Other Forms. And it's coming out on Liquidity. Big up Luke LSB. So much love. Jimmy Prettyman says, I'm writing in from across the pond. Big name artists like yourself need to throw events in smaller clubs. Your name would be the draw. Get your friends that have followings to get on board as residents. It's up to the headliners to get these clubs back on their feet. Get a good team of people to help you so you have time for touring. You will start filling these clubs from the first night on. Now across the pond, I imagine that means the USA. I did 11 shows in the USA back in February, March, and they were the small and medium-sized clubs that I'm talking about. They were all either completely full or nearly full, very busy, really well organised, passionate crowds. It reminded me of how it used to be in the UK back in the noughties and the early 2010s. So Jimmy, I think you have a really thriving scene in the States. Now hopefully that's not going to change under Trump. But who knows what's going to happen under Trump. Anyway, I'm kind of happy and a little bit scared to say that I am coming back to the States in December and in January and hopefully in February and maybe even in March as well. Such is the scene, the health of the scene in the States. So Nick May says, this is good. He said promoters need to work together. They absolutely do. Promoters need to speak to each other. Don't put nights on the same weekend. Do alternative months. Collaborate on nights. People don't have deep pockets these days, so give them a chance to earn some money. Yeah, Amit Nandi says, I love what Strategy is raising with his new concept night. Absolutely. Aux Cord. Pay what you can afford and have the community lift the night up as best that we can contribute. Given time, I think that concept can take hold and grow. say maybe larger promoters, brands, labels could work on establishing more incubator type nights for talent that takes place at small clubs, pubs, venues. Ultimately, they could feed into larger opportunities events for these up and coming artists. 100%, that is absolutely what needs to happen. Perhaps this is a way where wildly successful or leading brands and promoters throwing mega raves and massive parties can help build up the foundation stronger to support new artists. Yes. Because inevitably what has been happening since COVID is that there is a generation of TikTok DJs who came through during lockdown. And a lot of these have got lots of followers online. And instead of them paying their dues, playing small nights to hardly any people, honing their skills, they get booked to play the mega rave. So they completely leapfrog that whole experience. And what is the result of that? The result of that is they're not very good DJs. And they don't know how to read a room to change what they do, so they just play their 1 hour set that they practiced ad nauseam so that it's perfect. And that's it. And those that know that DJing is a lot more than that. DJing is about a two-way interaction with your audience, with your crowd. It's about the energy flowing in both directions. That is how people can live in the moment. Having a DJ rehearse their set until it's perfect, turning up and just playing what they've rehearsed. That is one way, that's not two-way. So the audience suffer for that, and so does the DJ. They're cheating themselves out of a proper experience, and they're cheating their crowd out of a proper experience as well. This is Joliffe with Tokyo Prose. And Phoebe on vocals. It's called Subside. Samas Saya says, to be honest, the majority of artists are just too expensive. Not saying they're not worth it, but while fees have multiplied by 4 or 5 times, ticket prices just cannot expand to that for smaller clubs. I've been to and played at more homegrown gigs than ever this year, 100 to 150 cap venues with no headliners. From Leamington Spa, and at one time we had a thriving scene with 4 or 5 regular events, mostly with headliners. Now there are no regular ones. We used to be monthly for 10 years and could get 2 to 3 headliners for each night. People like Fabio, Subfocus, Hazard, etc. for like under £1,800, he says. Now, that calls into play the role of agents, obviously. And as Strat said earlier, it's very similar to football in that respect. There's almost like there should be a 2-tier pricing structure. So big DJs should get what they can earn at the really big mega super raves, which aren't going to go away. But then they should also understand that for a small club, they need to charge a small club fee. Now this is what I've been telling my agent, Chris Marigold at Clinic Talent, exactly to do that. Because I love playing small events, but I can't moan about the fact that there are no small event bookings for me in the UK if I'm not prepared to adjust my fee. And personally, I think that's what everyone should do. Because then your small club promoter can book a name to pull people in and give an opportunity to new up-and-coming DJs to really learn their craft and get established as good DJs. Now, this is brand new 0T. It's called Untitled Metheney. Those that know their jazz will know Pat Metheney. And I'm not sure what label it's coming out on. Sorry, Kian, but I love this tune. Hope you don't mind me playing it. Alex Smiles writes in and says, I've heard conflicting stories about the monopolisation of clubland here in Manchester, with most major acts who played at Warehouse Project not being allowed to play at any other Manchester venues for the remainder of the year. That being said, there are some really good small venues that seem to fill up with more up-and-coming acts. In a weird way, music will always find a way to get out there. But maybe we need to adjust our expectations of what that would look like. Which doesn't help the small venues and clubs that are struggling, but the problem is going to be hard to fix. But there is an optimism to your comment there, Alex. Music does have a way of fixing itself. And also, I really dislike the fact that promoters who are putting on really big events, they ask the artists for an exclusivity clause, as described. So they're not allowed to play in that city for sort of like 3 months before or after the event. That kills small clubs. I understand the economics behind asking for that, but it doesn't help to grow the scene. And ultimately, everyone has a responsibility. Everyone who is making money from drum and bass has a responsibility to help it to grow. Otherwise, they're going to kill off the golden goose. I'm not going to get booked at any big events anymore. Oh my God. Okay, right, Ben Kenyon, I love this one. D&B producers need to pull their fingers out and stop making gimmicky TikTok music, and promoters need to stop booking the same 10 artists for everything. Yeah, stop making frog bass. That's what I say. This is new music on CIA. It's by Motiv. It's called Butterfingers. Okay. Marcin CI says, I feel that the UK clubs have failed to evolve. You have a stiff 3-hour window between midnight and 3am with 0 legal after parties after clubs, and by 3 to 4am you're out of options. London is dead after 4am. In Europe, party starts on Friday evening until midnight on Sunday. There will always be a club open, no matter what time of day or night. You have young promoters who come to the scene and totally ignore older clubbers, enforce their infantile taste, frog bass, do VIP options where they separate clubber with a physical barrier on the dance floor. Yeah, I hate that. That's how E1 died for me. Parties are now stiff, boring and commercialised. Kids take selfies and they don't rave. And you have the super clubs like Printworks, Drum Sheds, etc. where, and this is his personal opinion, okay, he's just saying this, maybe it happened to him, you are abused by the security and feel like a product, where everything revolves around DJ Instagram posters, not a clubber's experience. Some truth in there, some controversial ideas. I'm sure that getting abused by security can happen at any club, not just the ones mentioned. I sounded like the BBC then for a second, didn't I? Don't worry, I'm not going to invite Nigel Farage on to talk. This is the latest single by me, London Electricity, with Catching Cairo on vocals. It's out right now. Thank you to the 150,000 people or so who have streamed this in the first couple of weeks of its release.
Where you at? Where you go? I heard you're on your own. Didn't think that our roads could erode or crumble or implode. I guess we're getting older. Guess we're not as bold at processing the things we need. Just trying to keep control.
just kind of realised that had I not been a fan of Eric Satie when I was a teenager, this track probably wouldn't exist. New music now from Phil Tangent and Steo. It's called Bedouin and it's the Sattel remix. So Don James says, I have run a small club night and being a small promoter, it's hugely expensive. There is a disconnect between people's own self-worth and what is affordable. I don't want to knock someone down based on how they value their art. In reality, art is invaluable. But I've also had to tie up finances, and paying everyone what they want leaves you significantly out of pocket, just relying on favours which are not sustainable. Artists absolutely should be paid for their sets, and as an artist myself, I would also like that. But for a variety of reasons, it doesn't always work out for promoters. I'm sure there are promoters who completely take the piss as well, and I'd imagine artists have been bitten a few times. It's tough, that's my point, I guess, but the cost differences are too extreme for me to carry on. It's a complete roll of the dice putting on an event, and the losses are too great and too real these days. So what I believe, and again I've told my agent this, is that if I play small events in the UK, I should charge what the promoter can afford. Obviously costs need to be covered, but beyond that, it's such a risk putting on these small nights. A bit like Strat said, look, people pay what they want when they come into an event. A bit like that, but between the artist and the promoter. Now I might get a lot of flack from other artists for putting that idea out there, but I'm only talking about me. I'm not talking about anyone else. Everyone has to make their own decision. All I know is that I cannot complain and moan about the fact that there are almost no small club UK bookings unless I do something positive towards it. Do something to help address the situation. That's what we all need to do. New music from Dan Guidance, working with Duoscience. This is called Downstream. Okay, shout in from Kieran JB who says artist booking fees. That's the problem. Artists could help clubs with reduced fees, extended sets, etc. I understand this is their job, but I've heard of artists charging $5,000 a set for 1 hour. Well, that does happen. Now, I'd just like to say personally, I love doing extended sets, and I don't really like playing for an hour because I don't think it's good value for the crowd or for me. I like to play 2 hours or 3 hours or even longer given the opportunity. So Kieran goes on to say, Ticket prices and cost of living, of course. I'm guilty of this. A smaller local club is £20 a ticket, whereas these big day festivals can be looking at £40 plus, so people would rather go to those because they perceive that they're getting more value. That point itself is questionable, because for me, to rave, I get more value if I go to a small night with a great sound system and I can really lose myself in the music. That is my perceived value. I don't care about ticking off names on the headline list, but that's just me. So Kieran goes on to say, if artists drop their booking fees to help a club in their area, that club could do cheaper tickets and it could help everyone. But like I said, I don't know a lot about these prices, and if they are true, I can only go off what I hear and what I pay for things in life. Really good points, Kieran. Thank you. Okay, perspective from New Zealand now. Check it out. New Zealand is a real hub for drum and bass. So, hey Tony, a few local DJs and I run some local DJ nights in Nelson, New Zealand. We run more of an underground sound from the main bars in town, population around 70,000 people, and with both jungle and liquid drum and bass nights and funky tech house nights, it's hard for us to bring in internationals as the costs are so high. We try and keep it affordable, like $15 entry, that's about maybe £9 in UK, to pay for sound system hire and our costs. We use cafes that run during the day and we run our events during the night. New music from Yano. This is called Drained. I think it's on Critical. That may be an assumption. Anyway. Braden from New Zealand says, Tony, we met in Nelson during a hospitality stage at the Bay Dreams Festival a few years back. We, the local DJs, we get together regularly and encourage each other to help the scene grow. It's tough, but community and communication with them directly, because we are a small town, helps. Big love. That is how it works. Communication with your community. And really the way that properly happens is in person, because anyone can communicate with anyone online. So Chris Garland writes in and he lists a lot of the problems that we've already discussed. He says super clubs and festivals dominate, therefore big business is attracting the lion's share of punters. Meanwhile, youngsters have far more choices where to spend their paper round money. No one does paper rounds anymore, of course. Their Saturday job or their crypto trust fund monies. Ooh. And would rather live in the Instagram, TikTok world, pretending to be famous and end up being too cool to dance. You see, I think that's a bit of a cliche and an assumption to make about young people, because actually that's all you see on your algorithm. You don't see all the young people that don't care about social media, and there are a lot of them. And Chris goes on to say, but we've just started a new drum and bass night in Tunbridge Wells, underneath a pub in the middle of town, Thursday nights. It's great. That is wicked, Chris. I'm really, really happy you're doing that. He says, but we are all over 35. When the youngsters wander in, it's like they don't know what to do. I can picture that. Vincent Cornell says last week there was an interesting article in a Flemish newspaper on this very subject. I'll try and send you a translation. That didn't come through. But he says, I got the feeling that a lot of people prefer the anonymity of getting lost in a big crowd over the more socially demanding smaller venues. Hard to explain, but I guess you know what I mean. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Perhaps the intimacy of a small venue can be scary for people who've grown up online. New music from Leon Bailey, the Steve BC.
Trouble try to set me free. Someone's trying to get to me. We were living on thrones. We were kings a long time ago. When I look in your face, I see nothing but a fantasy. I know I live in your mind. Can you give me more time? No. I think we'd be more than friends. There's no force in this. I just want to hold you. I don't live in your mind. I live here in real time. Yeah. I give life. I give truth.
Did I mention that
when you hurt me,
that I've made a Fast Soul Music t-shirt? I think I did, but I'm going to mention it again. We're actually selling them from here.
I make change.
So have a look in the link. Check it out. Organic, 220 premium cotton. And I think we manufactured like 80 or 100 of them or something like that. So yeah, check it out. This is more new High Contrast now from his Restoration album. This is wicked. This is called On Bass.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, on bass, on drums, on bass.
And Rob de la Porte makes a very interesting point. Our planning system is skewed. Developers build the stuff they can profit from quickest, and by the time the community and culture stuff needs building, a lot of them have gone broke. The softer bits should be prioritised. After all, who wants to live in an estate where there is no community resources? Or in a development where there's nothing to do? Nobody. Coupling clubs up with new office developments is perfect. They complement each other well in terms of disruption and traffic, but there's no requirement for stuff like this. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is that the arts always take a hit when there's a cost of living crisis, and local government planning regulations, etc. They don't care. They don't even think about the arts. All they think about is the kind of like the headline capitalist stuff. And yet, our club industry has in the past been so successful and brought in so much money in terms of tax and spin-off benefits as well. And it is hugely good for people's welfare and their mental health. But unfortunately, you can't legislate for stuff like that.
On bass.
Tom James says we need to eliminate the ego-driven greed culture, Instagram popularity contests and self-centered promoters monopolising whole scenes in some cities for financial gain. What happened to the love for the scene? Promoters need to dig for talent, not just look at lineups online, like they're ordering from a fast food self-service machine delivering the same names week in, week out, just in a different space. Amen to that. And if all else fails, let's go back underground and rebuild this beautiful scene from the ground up. I'll see you in the fields, the warehouses, the abandoned spaces and the unloved fringes of society, where we can claim back what's rightfully ours from the gentrified teeth of the whitewashed mainstream. Woo! Parkinson says big name artists should be made to pay a percentage of ticket sales back into a grassroots music venue trust. Also, the Arts Council of England should make their grassroots music grants easier to apply for, without as many boxes which need tickets. Unfortunately, since the pandemic and before our UK government has failed to recognise the UK music industry as an asset. Yeah, I agree with all of that. This is brand new music from Sattel. Jump Scare. And Christian Class Stanford sent me a shout that's so depressing I'm not going to read it. Thanks, Christian. Birmingham Roller says it would be a nice idea for clubs to open as academy-based learning grounds, which can be open upstairs in the daytime. This is a theme, isn't it? And can hold big events on the weekends, combining various genres, part funded by lottery and other charitable organisations. That would be amazing. Can't see it happening. That's not going to get votes for politicians. It can be used by all ages and serve as a music-type community centre with volunteers, up-and-coming DJs or producers. Downstairs, a cafe food place at competitive prices to pull people in, and special DJs making appearances, holding coaching in the daytimes for the 16 plus. I would say 14 plus would be really helpful. Lovely ideas there. And I do agree that 18 plus for clubs is stupid, just as I think the vote should be available to 16 and over. So should clubbing. And Tom Scales has a really nice point to make. He talks a lot about the cause that we've already discussed. But he says we need to get back to why we got into all of this. So less of a cash grab and more about escapism, friendships, love of music and having a laugh. Rather than big ticket superstars, commercial leanings and social media posts. This is new Mic Kiss. It's called Blur Mistake. Love this. And Matt Airwalker Harris. Now, Airwalker was an artist that I think we might have featured on a compilation on Hospital back in the day. And he used to send demos into the Hospital podcast quite a while ago. And he says, that's quite depressing, a lot of what you're saying there, Matt. But on the positive note, he says, maybe what it takes for us is to put down Spotify on your new iPhone, turn off notifications, relax and make technology work for you, and reconnect with local live music by spending the little money that we all have on enjoying live music again. Reject the super clubs, reject Ticketmaster, reject being spoon-fed AI-generated musical suggestions. Be willing to listen to your mates' recommendations. Be willing to go to an unknown gig and take a punt. It might be amazing. If it isn't, then you can have a laugh about it because you're there with your mates. Thank you, Matt. Really good suggestions and also emotions in your comments. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you telling me and the people who are reading or listening to this what you think are the solutions. Now, on a positive note, because I might do a whole session on AI and music because it is fascinating. I do think artificial intelligence, it can now learn the output from one particular producer and then make loads of music that sounds like that producer. It's capable of doing that. It's not yet capable of being full mastering quality, but that will come. Where this is going is that I think artificial intelligence is at some point going to replace any kind of generic drum and bass. It's really easy for AI to make dance music because everything's in sort of 4s and 8s and 16s. And but it cannot replace the experience of being in a room full of like-minded people listening on a good system to a DJ. So that might actually work to the advantage of all of this. It's going to be hard for producers to make a living unless they really up their game and become more original and less derivative. So that could be a good thing too. Anyway, this is the last tune of this epic podcast. And I've enjoyed all your shouts. I've enjoyed discussing this. This is potentially a really depressing subject, but we have to look on the bright side. We have to be curious. We have to be open to solutions.
You know what your problem is? You have no game.
What you know about game?
Now, this is a producer called Pneumatics. I played one of his tunes quite a few podcasts ago. He was one of the students of Josh Unglued. And this is wicked. It's called All the Game. If I was running a label that signed music by new talent, I would probably sign this. But I don't sign a label. I don't run a label like that anymore. Fast Soul Music is a very selfish enterprise, strictly for my music. However, this tune is available for any labels out there. I'm going to leave you now. Thank you for being part of this podcast. Thank you for interacting, and thank you for listening. Have a great day, have a great night, have a great evening, have a great morning. Peace.